Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Thanking everybody for rocking with us as we continue throughout the night. Special thank you to those folks checking us out on Facebook Live. We're back on Facebook Live. Special thank you to those folks checking us out on TuneIn, as well as on www.legacyinternetradio.com, as well as on Streamer, listening to the replays on YouTube, as well as on iTunes. 804-402-2893 is the number to dial. If you call back, definitely call in, make your comments really quick. We're getting into the end of the show, but we got a couple of more things that we got to get to real quick. Mr. 3375 is going to take over in just a minute, but I do want to ask a question to the panel before we actually get to the Champipple Room. My question, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. 3375. Are we too hard on the police? Like, real talk. Are we too hard on the police? Do we ask for too much from the police? Because you have a lot of people who feel that we are. And so because we have so many people who feel that we are, I think it's a fair question that we should at least ask and address. So I want everybody to kind of comment on that. Whatever you feel like you want to say, just say it really quick so that we can get into the Champipple Room. But I wanted to get to that last segment, but we just ran out of time. So let's just ask that question real quick, Mr. 3375. Are we too hard on the police?
I don't think so. Their job is to serve and protect, and if they're not doing that right, it's a problem.
Yep, I agree. That is their job. If they're not doing it, we should be holding them accountable for it.
How are we too harmful? Is that
are we
real?
too
That's
hard on them?
that's what I'm sorry. How are we too hard on them? Do you mean as the whole, the fact that we're talking about the police in general?
Basically, you have a lot of people who feel as though they have a hard enough job without the community giving them the business.
Okay, you can stop.
That's
crazy.
I'm asking the question.
No, we're not being too hard.
I'm not saying that I agree with it, but I'm asking the question.
I needed some more context because I'm like, they have a hard enough job. You're right. You have a hard enough job. It was a choice to get into a role where you're putting your life in danger. And I'm not saying that's a reason or an excuse to not protect yourself if your life is truly in danger. But I haven't seen an instance yet that's out there where their life was in danger and they're shooting people.
I'm kind of indifferent on that one. And just because when we look at these issues, just like we said that you referred to the two guys that did the police shootings as lone wolves, the number of police officers that are engaged in this type of abuse is minimal when you look at the police force in its entirety. There are a lot of good police officers out there that are doing their job. They are protecting and serving. What my problem is with the government that controls the police officers. Mm-hmm. I think they're the ones that are accountable. They're not doing their job to make sure that, by and large, police are serving their community and not abusing them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree with you there. I was going to say the police, they have an expectation of what they were supposed to do, but they only do what the government is allowing them to do. So if we can't figure out that type of way, then somebody has to be held accountable.
I think that, are we too hard on them? Maybe the actual police on the street, potentially. I think we're not hard enough on their governing bodies because, they are empowered to do what they do. If there were more consequences for them for killing civilians, be it black, white, or other, if there were more consequences for them, they would be thinking twice before screaming, "I thought my life was in danger." So so the police on the street, I think that it's difficult, and I think that there may be some borderline hard expectations put on them because you only go to police where they tell you to go to police. So if you and I'm going to just speak to my Richmond and Jersey City people for a minute. If you from Glen Allen, but you got to go and police Blackwell, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or if you from, the Heights, but you got to go and police Curry Woods for my Jersey City people, then there's going to be a level of fear because of the unknown. You don't know the neighborhood. You don't know the hood. And so I think that we may be a bit hard on the actual foot soldiers. We're not hard enough on their bosses. Ain't no how stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den Legacy Internet Radio, Mr. 3375. Thank you for allowing me to take the first 5 minutes of the Champipple Room to get that out. We are now in the Champipple Room where we see lava lamps and we see,
beaded curtains, and we see,
you know what I'm saying? We see high heel boots with the fish tanks and stuff.
That's how we roll in the Champipple Room.
Yes, sir.
Take it back old school, but I'm gonna keep the trend going. So I ran across this clip of a cartoon called A Bug's Life, which kind of coexists on what's going on in the world today. Y'all ready?
Go for it.
Y'all ready? If it works.
Yeah, but we can forget about him. Yeah, it was just one ant. Yeah, you're right. It's just one ant. Yeah, boys, they're puny. Puny? Say, let's pretend this grain is a puny little ant. You let her? Nope. Well, how about this one? Are you kidding? How about this? You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay?
That's why.
Well, it's kind of like what I said earlier. If we all just kind of take our power, take that fear that they're so afraid of, and we all just go ahead and use it, but use it in the right way, we won't be going through this. We won't be having this conversation.
Yeah, Dee.
I mean, when I watched the movie years ago with my kids, I realized what this was about,
right.
So we're going to have a hard time in this United States because we aren't coming together. So,
That's the biggest problem, right?
Yeah,
there.
we
That's
aren't
it.
coming together. So that's what I have to say.
They're scared for one. So one of us made a stand, and then somebody stood next to them, and somebody stood next to him, and somebody stood next to them. I'm telling you. That's some shit to be scared of right there.
It's a powerful thing that you got, Mo.
It just reminds me that everybody just needs to wake up. You got some of us that's still sleeping, some of us that's awoke, and some that's just sleepwalking. That's how I look at it. And that's sad. I agree with both of you ladies. We need to unite and come together and let them have fear for a reason.
For a real reason, yep. Like Mama said, if you want to cry, I'll give you a reason to cry.
Yes.
What you got, bro?
Well, I like the you want to be fearful, give them a reason to be fearful. I do like that thought process. I hadn't heard that clip before. You said you had seen it. What was that from?
The Bug's
A
Life.
Bug's Life.
That's from A Bug's Life. Okay, I never saw The Bug's Life. So, it's crazy when you think that they can stick some real shit in a cartoon like
Yeah.
that. Like, because that shit was real.
Yeah.
Like, it, you know,
gotta
I mean,
pay
because I'll be
attention.
honest with you, man. When you first started the clip, I was a little bit kind of checked out because I'm doing other things. But when I heard that voice start saying, you know, you can't let them think that they can, you know, get ahead. You know, I mean, that's not what he said verbatim, but that's the gist of what he was saying. And it's like these conversations happen every single day. They happen every day. And when people like us get on the mountaintop and scream it to the top of our lungs, they call us crazy.
Yeah.
And demagogues and rebel rousers and race baiters. They call the president of the United States divisive. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say, man. That's all I got, man. That's all
We're
I
gonna
got.
run out of things to say when shit like this keep happening.
Well, it's always been happening, and what we can't do is stop.
Right.
You know what I mean?
what can you say different?
But see, the thing is, what we can't do is stop, though, because
I understand that.
well, what we can't do is stop, and the reason for that is we never know if we will be the ones to spark the mind of the one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So we have to do our work. You know what I mean? We have to do our work. Like, everybody needs to know what their place is in this fight because there's enough work for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you have some folks that'll be like, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, this is what I'm doing. And then there's some folks that don't do nothing at all. We are the ones who are sparking the mind. It's like a teacher. You know what I mean? Like, teacher may not be out, you know, feeding the kids in the lunchroom because that's not what the teacher does. What the teacher does is it sparks the mind of the unlearned. And that's what we're doing. And so we can't stop. We can't stop. Even when we get discouraged, we can't stop. Because, see, once we stop, then we lose.
Yep.
And losing is not an option. Because I got a child. And, you know, pretty much everybody in this room has children.
Yeah.
And so we can't stop. It's not an option. Because we got to leave a world to them. Just like our parents left a world to us. Anytime you're a parent, you want to give your child more than what you had. And so what we're doing is we're continuing to spark those minds. We can't stop. We just can't stop.
You know,
The last thing I want to say is we can't stop, but I really feel like change isn't going to come because our leaders of yesterday, they wasn't afraid to die.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, and I said it on my Facebook page not too long ago, as much as I want to see the world change, I'm not willing to die for it. I'm willing to be in the background, and I'll support those that's willing to risk their lives. Malcolm X won't scared to die. Farrakhan won't scared to die. Even though Martin Luther King was about peace, he wasn't afraid to die, which is what made those marches beneficial to them. We don't have nobody today that's willing to say,
Yep.
shit, I'll die for this.
I just had that conversation with somebody.
So that's just kind of where I'm at. And I got a 12-year-old son, and I used to think I got to worry about you growing up with Tyrone or getting beat up by Bobby or fighting Billy. But now I got to say, well, when you see the cops, son, you just need to stand there and put your hands in the air and don't move. If they ask you for an ID, tell them go in your pocket yourself. Who want to raise their kids like that?
Right.
But I don't want to raise you to be scared of the police, but then I don't want to teach you to, I don't know the word for it, but I don't want to teach you to stand up for yourself because shit, next thing I know, you're going to die.
Right.
We getting a hit. Ain't no hashtag on Marcus J in social media. What's up, Mo? My brother from Jersey City.
What's going on, brother?
Maurice is checking us out, and he's saying peace to the crew, man. It's good to see
Yes,
you,
sir.
man. Thanks for checking us out.
It's definitely funny that you said that because I have a 5-year-old son that he see a shiny badge, he love it. The policeman, he want to go up to him, he want to shake their hand, you know, he want to take pictures and stuff like that. Is this going to be the same cop that pull my son over for if he's speeding or he driving my Lex? And, you know, is he going to get killed? You know what I'm saying? Is that going to be the same cop that my son is walking up to, shaking his hand at 5 years old?
You know why I love that comment? I love that comment because that's exactly what happened in Boys in the Hood. That's exactly what happened in Boys in the Hood.
Yep.
if you remember, for those folks who remember the movie, when the guy tried to break into Furious and Trey's house when Trey was a little boy, Furious pulled his gun out and took a shot at the guy, and he missed him when the police came. And the police officer was kind of an ass then, but he was talking to young Trey. And later on in the movie, when Trey and Ricky got pulled over, it was the same cop. It was the same cop. That's so profound that you said that. Shout out to our brother Shaq. He's still listening. He said, we can't get caught up in blaming all police on the acts of a few. Perfect comment. Love that comment. The only caveat that I have for that comment, though, is that's the same thing that happens to us. Mm-hmm. We get looked at because maybe our brother is a criminal. And so because we come from the same hood, or we may look alike, or we may wear similar clothes, we are going to be looked upon as being just as criminal as our brother was. Whereas with the police, they are given the presumption of innocence. Mm-hmm. We are given the presumption of of guilt. And then keep in mind, when you're dealing with the police, just one thing to keep in mind. They are trained to not trust you. They are trained not to trust you. Right. Which is the reason why they walk to the car like this. Mm-hmm. And y'all can't see me, but maybe Facebook Live, y'all can see me. They walk to the car with their hand on their gun side. They trained not to trust you. Yeah. But we supposed to trust them immediately. I'm going to be honest with you. If I never broke bread with you, I immediately don't trust you. And there's some folks I broke bread with that I don't trust. Yeah. So do what you want with that information. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J.
And I think that's a problem, particularly for us being black men, that you got to be afraid if you get stopped because your tail light broken or you was 5 miles above the speed limit. Yep. I mean, I don't know if you saw it or not, but there's a black country singer. His name is Cafe Anderson or whatever, and he did a video on Facebook that literally walks, and he's speaking directly to black men. How to go about if you were pulled over by the police, and before the police officer gets to the car, you need to get your wallet out, sit it on the dashboard. There's a certain way you got to hold the steering wheel with your fingers out, and then when you go to grab your wallet, tell him you're reaching for the wallet and all that kind of stuff. For me, I call bullshit on that. I don't think I should have to go through all of that because I was driving 5 miles over the speed limit, and my white counterpart can pull up and say anything he want to say to the police officer. Yeah. So I just think that's a whole new dynamic that we're not dealing with, and it shouldn't be that way, and I don't think we should tolerate it.
We shouldn't tolerate it, but there's something to be said for the thought of living to fight another day. Now, I'm personally, and this is just me, I'm personally not built to be that way, the way that he describes it in the video. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be me no matter where I am and no matter what's going on. And so I don't live my life fearfully. I don't walk around fearful. And so when you pull me over, and I've been pulled over for legitimate reasons and for bullshit, and just my personal experience, I would say in the last, since I've been driving. So the last 25 years, I've been pulled over probably close to 20 times in the last 25 years and came away with maybe 5 or 6 tickets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you do the math on that yourselves. And of all of those police officers that I've come into contact with, say 20 of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them were assholes. So for the most part, I was dealing with respectful, professional police officers. Now, some of them pulled me over for bullshit. And after having talked to me, they realized that they ain't got nothing. But you can, like I said, again, do what you want with that information. So I guess the point I'm making is all police ain't bad. Just like all black men ain't bad. But when you see the police officer like the one in South Carolina who dealt with the dude, pulled him over for nonsense, and when the dude was literally running away, he shot him in the back. This is who we dealing with as well. Mo, jump in.
With this whole all police isn't bad, to me, that sits funny with me because even though you may not be the one that's doing the senseless killings or being the aggressor, if you know your partner, your captain, the rookie, if you know that they are aggressive and you are standing by being quiet, to me, that's the same thing that they say about us with this no snitching rule.
Yep.
If you're not talking, you just as equal.
Yep.
Silence to me equals violence.
Yep. You know, I saw a meme, you know, because everything is about memes these days.
Yeah.
Like, if you ain't seen a good meme, like, you know, you ain't got a page, IG full of memes, then you're not doing this social media thing the right way.
Yeah.
But I saw a meme, and it was a barrel of apples. And it was something to the effect of a farmer is smart enough to know that you got to take that rotten apple out of that barrel, because that rotten apple is going to spoil all of the other apples. Whereas the police department doesn't always practice that kind of thought process. And it's simple. It's very simple. You got a cop that you know that roughed some folks up. How many times, like the cop that killed Tamir Rice had just gotten fired from a neighboring jurisdiction for being an asshole. He just got fired. And he jumps out and kills Tamir Rice for having a gun in an open carry state.
Yep.
And the police union head actually said that he got what he deserved because he looked menacing. And even at 12 years old, he was like a man child. Now, just think about it. Just think about it. We talked earlier about fear. If that's not an example of fear, I don't know what is. Mr. 3375, take us to the next one.
All right. Next issue I want to talk about, I'll get my stuff together, which kind of pissed me off a little bit. We got one of the biggest blockbuster movies about to come out. And Leslie Jones, I don't know if y'all know who Leslie Jones is. She's one of the Ghostbusters black comedian. They was getting ready to do a premiere, and none of the designers would dress her. No designer would dress her. She couldn't get a phone call back. They all denied her, and one took a chance on her and made her look beautiful. Is this, Hollywood attack on black women? That's not Halle Berry type. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but I feel like why, if you know nobody was going to dress you, why you didn't reach out to some of these up and coming black designers?
Right. Okay.
If you want us to be equal and you know what I mean, why not reach out to Michael that used to be on Project Runway? You didn't have to wait for Christian to offer to dress you. So that to me, that don't sit well. That's just kind of so it's not your fault. You already knew white people don't fool with you anyway, so you shouldn't have started with them. Shouldn't have wanted to wear Versace. You should have wanted to wear Michael.
True.
I think she knew. I'm not sure what she knew,
Yeah,
but she knew that black people wasn't. I mean, she knew that white people weren't going to fool with her like that. Then she should have reached out to somebody.
And she's up and coming herself, so why not bring somebody else up with you?
I think that was on purpose. Me personally, I think she did it on purpose so to prove a point. So, and the other thing is, with everything else that's going on,
Who cares?
Really? That's what you talking about?
Really can't prove a point on something that was already known. They don't
Yeah,
fool with us.
You're right. I think she did it purposely so that she could put it out there, put these people on blast. Because it's not like they don't dress black people, black women. They're dressing.
Halle Berry get dressed,
but she ain't Halle Berry either.
But
and I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying
they dressed Viola Davis.
I think the elephant in the room might be
is a bigger star
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the point. She is a bigger star than Leslie. What's her name? Leslie
Jones.
Davis.
Les Davis. Yeah. I don't think that, honestly. I think the darker you are, the less you're valued.
That is not true. I don't believe that.
I think-
Lupita.
Well, Lupita-
but you know
Hollywood,
what?
I
She's
think
also
so.
not
But here-
American.
but here-
you got to be dark
But let me-
and
let me-
from
but let me-
motherland.
Well, let me finish.
At that
let-
point,
let
you're
me-
foreign.
Let me finish my point. I think the darker you are, the less you're valued, and I also think the more African you present, the less you're valued. Lupita, as beautiful as she is, she's small, she's slender, she's not a big black menacing black girl like this Leslie Davis
But you said
girl is.
African. Lupita is just.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
she's
when you
from.
think
She's
of-
from.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Leslie Johnson. I don't think of.
I'm gonna tell you something straight up. Every time I've seen her, she does not present as, quite frankly, an attractive woman
No.
to me, just to me. And honestly, I think that might have had something to do with this. And you know, that may not be politically correct, but I don't run from the difficult conversation here. I think that might be part. I think that might be part of it. And judging by the look on SY's face right now, I think that you might be understanding where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we put a greater value on so-called attractive people, and there's certain so-called attractive physical characteristics. Now, if you're going to be chocolate, you better be slim and pretty, because if not, if you're a big old black girl, then people going to have issues with you. Think about how they talk so terribly about Gabby. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, this Leslie girl.
Our own.
Exactly.
People talk about
Exactly.
her.
So you understand the point I'm making. I may not have articulated it that well when I started, but I hope folks understand what I'm saying now, because I mean, the reality is, you know, the whole brown paper bag test.
I think that's what it was. It had something to do with, what'd you just say? How
But-
the
look.
attractiveness.
Yes.
And the fact that she is. Well, I guess if you watch Orange Is the New Black,
I was getting ready to
you
say
know
that. I
who
got her
she
pulled
is,
up.
but I don't watch
No,
it.
She's not on
on-
that.
she's
She's
not
not
on
on that.
Orange
She's
is
on
the
Saturday Night Live.
She on Saturday Night Live. This
Didn't
is
she
oh,
start on Orange Is
No,
the New
she's
Black?
this
never
is
been on
Orange
that.
the New Black. Did
She did start off on Orange
Yeah,
Is the New Black.
she's on Orange Is the New Black.
No, she's
Who
not
is?
on Orange is the New Black.
Well, I don't know.
Leslie
She is.
Jones? No, she's
But
not.
She's not on that show.
No?
This is crazy eye
Yeah.
who don't have no problem with anybody dressing her.
Because she's not a big menacing black girl.
Yes, she is.
She's not a big menacing
She's
black
done
girl.
won like Emmys 2-3 years in a row.
But she's also foreign,
Empire.
isn't she? The other chick that's on Orange Is the New Black.
No, isn't this the lady from Empire?
No, Saturday Night Live. That
You
girl.
talking about Gabby Sidibe?
Yeah,
That's who's
the person. Okay, hold on. We gotta chill. We gotta chill out the
You
cross
talking
talking.
about
Hold
this
on, one at a
She
time.
got-
Hold
No,
on,
that's not
hold
her.
on, hold on, everybody, hold on. The person that we're talking about is the girl from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
That's who we're talking about. She's not on Orange Is the New Black. She's not on Empire. She's on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And she's also the black girl from the new Ghostbusters. So if you're
Yeah.
listening right now,
Right.
if you want to Google
Yeah.
who we're talking about, you can Google who we're talking about. But I don't want to give out any false information. So she's not on Orange Is the
She
New
was
Black.
never on Orange
No.
Is the New Black.
No.
Well, how did she get so well known?
Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I don't watch that.
Clearly.
I see her on commercials.
Yeah.
And I thought she was Crazy Eye from the
No.
Orange Is the
Yeah.
New
No,
Black.
no.
I just figured they put some, when they.
No.
Yeah, the one when I.
Why the
Yeah,
hell
yeah,
do I
yeah.
still think that was the chick from Empire?
Because you're crazy.
No, that's
When
not
we
her.
just told you it's
she got
not.
a twin?
Because my ice ain't cold enough. You didn't
Yeah,
hear me
because
when I
it's
said it
Yeah,
3
she's a little
times.
bit-
No, she's talking about
the
she's talking
assistant.
about Cookie's assistant.
Yes.
No, why are we
Her.
talking about her?
Because she
that's
thought
what
that's
she
who
thought that
Les
was.
Johnson.
She looks like to me.
That's
Oh.
what she thought she was.
Yeah, she does a little bit.
Thank you.
But it's not the same girl.
Well, she got a twin.
Well, you know all black girls look the same, so what's the problem?
Oh, wow. Really? You just did that?
I did.
You know what? Shut up and go on.
I needed a mic drop moment, and I got what I was looking for.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
There you go. I needed control,
Now,
and that's
with
how
that
I got
being
it.
said-
All you got to do is say something stupid,
With
and the
that being
room will go silent.
Oh, this is her? Oh, Taronda Jones. They sisters. Don't freak with me. They sisters, damn it.
You're so
Yeah.
you're so
She mean
random
she
right
gonna
now.
prove it.
Okay, Mr. 3375.
With that being said, I'm gonna move to Jesse Williams.
Wow. Okay. What we got?
Being
on
a
Jesse?
half breed,
Wow.
does his
Really?
statement really make a difference?
Are we gonna just go with half breed?
Yes.
It does.
It
All
does.
right, hold on.
Amazing.
Before we get in, let me get a comment. Gigi, thank you for your comment, Gigi. I'm going to read it right now. Gigi is saying, I think it's all women who don't fit the Hollywood stereotype, not necessarily race. Amy Schumer was put on a plus-size glamour edition, even though she isn't big. You need to be size 2 for the designers to want to dress you. Ladies, comments?
No, that's not true. Who's dressing Gabby Sidibe?
Somebody is
That's not
dressing
true.
her.
She's not the only.
Precious?
Yeah, Precious. What's the chick? The lady that was in.
Monique.
Damn it, Oprah Winfrey.
Even
That's
Monique, you know.
who's dressing Oprah? Oprah's wearing.
Oprah can
designer.
dress Oprah.
Let me tell you something.
but she's wearing
It's a
designer.
big-
Yeah,
Oprah
but
is a different tax.
Yeah, that's a different. Yeah, that's not.
I
Yeah.
say her. I
Designer.
use her name to
I get it.
discredit. I mean, everybody's entitled
I
to their
get it.
opinion, but that's not true. There, you know
feel
what? I take that back. Maybe you're right. There are several white women out here that are bigger. That the designers are
lady.
not. Yeah,
Oh,
what's her
McCartney.
issue? What you call
What's
his
her name?
cousin? Yeah,
McCartney.
Jenny McCartney's
Yeah.
cousin.
Melissa
Melissa,
McCarthy.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Melissa.
having a time before she became
Yeah.
a really big
They cousins?
star.
Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
hard for her to get dressed.
yeah, they
too.
weren't. Yeah, you know what? I take that back.
She
Gigi,
funny as hell.
You're right. She's hilarious.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
the funniest.
Melissa
She's hilarious.
McCarthy, is that her name?
Yeah, Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa.
Man, she is outstandingly
Yes.
funny and whatnot. All right, so the question is,
Question was Jesse Williams,
did you really
his
call him a
speak-
half-breed, though?
half breed.
Did you really call him that?
Well, he told a story of how he was at because he was raised in am I right? Okay. He was raised in a white community, and he told a story of how he was at a friend's house, all white people, and they were talking about black people. They were talking about something, and he looked up and asked the lady, was I bad? Is that pertaining to me? And she looked at him and told him, no, baby, you're not black. So, with that being said,
He still get white privileges.
yeah, he does, but in the same sense, he does not.
I mean, he black to me. His daddy black. So
He-
to me,
it don't
to
matter.
me, you black.
But
But
let me jump on that. That came from slavery.
yep,
Yeah.
From saying
That's
you
what I was
have a
touching on.
drop of black in you, you're black.
yep.
That's some slavery
They still do that
stuff.
today.
Yep.
Yes, if he is half white and half black,
He got in
he's
the house.
neither. He's neither. He's not black. He's not white. He gets the option to choose.
Right.
Listen, I tell my kids all the time, check other, and if they got a question, ask them to ask you what you are. My daughter can break down everything she is. She did her family tree. She can tell you exactly what she is. Unfortunately, well, I can't. No, not unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately, you are only given the choice of black, white,
Hispanic.
or Hispanic. Or I think Asian.
They say Native American.
Yeah.
Some say Native. Yeah, you know, if
And then
I
it
love
says
it.
other.
Or some of them say black and not Native American.
Yeah, or
Like,
black.
I've seen
And
that.
if
one.
you're
Black,
Hispanic,
not
but
black,
not
not Hispanic.
not black
Yeah.
origin.
I'm like, I'm black, and I'm Hispanic and
Child,
Indian and
I
white.
check white on everything. I don't care.
Yeah, you'll find out when you see me. Is that a lie? Did I lie?
No.
Every
No,
job application I
because-
ever checked, I put white.
I check
I check
They know.
white.
Let
I
me just say.
don't
Let me just say.
care what y'all
They
got
know
to say.
before you get there.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
no. Demetrius Davis. Davis is you taking a chance. When my last name, when I used my married name Christmas, yeah, I could tell when I got there they were shocked. Oh,
Demetrius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, isn't
Yes.
that French?
Davis, yeah, you're black.
Yeah, Christmas, Demetrius Christmas. You don't know who you get.
Your last name was Christmas.
It was.
Boy, that was a strong was, boy. That was a strong was right there, boy. Hey, bro, what you think about the question on the floor, man?
I mean, my son is half white, and my grandbabies are more than half white. So, I mean, it's not an issue to me of being able to choose because I've watched him in his environment. He's a very light dude, and he's categorized as a black man.
Yeah.
The only time he's not been categorized as a black man was when he would start to possibly be Hispanic. But he has to correct that. But at the end of the day, if you are a person of color, it doesn't matter.
No, it don't matter.
It just
They
doesn't
will
matter.
never see you as white.
Exactly.
You will never be equal.
Mo, what you think?
for the whole Jesse Williams thing, what did he say different that Dr. Umar haven't said, that David
Nothing.
Banner hasn't
Nothing.
said, that
Nothing.
Tupac didn't say?
Nothing.
Marcus J. hadn't
It's
said.
just because
He's light skinned.
It's just because he was that mixed race that people
Now-
point out. Because I
And
didn't
he's
even
on-
know. I didn't even know he
I
was
didn't know-
mixed
I didn't
race
even know who he was
after
until
the fact
he hit the stage.
somebody
I did.
said something.
You could tell.
But
And he's on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah,
That's
but
like
I-
this
what
man-
I'm saying is,
but like this man,
until
my
that
nieces
day,
and nephews
I had
are
no
mixed, so I
idea
don't
who
look
he
at that.
was. But what I will say is, because we need the white people to come onto our side and to stand up for us so that our movement can be heard and change can be made, I think it was a great place that he came from, because he has both black and white followers. But other than that, you ain't saying nothing that I ain't already heard before.
I look at it like this, man. I feel strong about the one drop rule. That's just me. If you got to drop a black, you black. To me, because you black to the establishment. And so if I'm going to keep with that thought process, all you have to do if you disagree with me is look at how they treat the president of the United States. His mama's white, and he was raised by his white grandparents in Hawaii and in middle America, it was Oklahoma or Kansas or wherever the hell they lived. And so he had a white upbringing up to the time that he went to Chicago and met Michelle Obama. You know what I mean? You had a whole bunch of black people who didn't feel that he was authentically African American because he didn't grow up in black America. And so I sometimes kind of scoff at folks that want to get caught up in worrying about what white folk think about our people. And I see Jesse Williams, I see a black dude. I didn't know his mama was white. I watched Grey's Anatomy, and I like his character. I always thought his character was real dope. And I also found it curious that a lot of people agreed with me until he said what he said. And maybe it's my perspective that I agree with what he said, but only entitled white people in this country are the ones that want to petition to get somebody off a television show because they didn't like what he said. Right. These are the same people who will tout the Second Amendment because it's in the Constitution, but they're not going to support you on the first one. You know what I'm saying? And so I just find that curious. But I think black people can learn from our white brothers and sisters on this subject, because what they do when they not happy is they act. They call, they write, they petition. When it's time to put their money where their mouth is, they do it. All you have to do is look no further than the bank account of Dylan Roof and George Zimmerman. All you had to do is look at the fact that these two dudes had money given to them by white people that supported them. Yep. Regardless of why. We can forget for a minute, just for the purpose of my point in this discussion, forget that Dylan Roof killed a bunch of black people. Just forget that for a minute. Just for the minute, for the purpose of the point I'm making. People supported him. So they put money in his pocket because they supported him. We don't do that. We ain't even putting money in the pockets of dead people. Where's our money? Where's our money for Alton Sterling? Which he made some, but where's our money for Philando Castro? He made a couple of dollars. Where's our money for Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and Laquan McDonald and Oscar Grant and people like that? So we can learn something from our white brothers and sisters because they put their money where their mouth is. Mm-hmm. Do we do that? Do we do that?
I have to disagree with that.
That's fine. Let's talk about it.
We got to. Before you go, we got some hits on social media from our sister Mel. She said, "No, we don't need white folks to do anything for us. Black folks can do everything if black folks pay attention to black folks." Then we got another hit by Juan. He said, biracial or not, his message was needed. The problem with our community is we are going to focus on his skin color and not what he said. That's why they dim us to crabs in a bucket. Omar and Pastor Troy didn't have the platform he had. And I agree.
I agree with that,
totally
definitely. Getting back to your statement, Mark,
yes.
I'm going to say on my personal experience, I didn't give much, but I gave. you can't ignore the fact that Dylan, that he killed black people, because the fact of the matter is that's why they gave him money. It wasn't because he was in jail for marijuana possession. He killed black people in a black church, and they are giving him money to get out of jail for killing black people in a black church. You can't ignore that fact.
No, I got you. And that's a fair point. That's a very, very fair point.
Now talk about
but
those,
that wasn't, it's a fair point, but it doesn't speak to the reason why I even brought it up. I brought it up to make the case that white people put their money where their mouth is based upon how they feel about things. I didn't bring the race part of it in because of what he did. I brought up the fact that if they support someone, regardless of why, even if that support is of a white man that killed black people, if that support is of a politician who you want to have in your house because you want them to win a race, speaking to what Brad said earlier, they put their money where their mouth is. We don't do that because we don't trust Brad. You know what I mean? We think Brad gonna run away with our money. That's why I brought that up. So while I understand what you're saying, and I agree that the reason why they're doing that is because a lot of them is racist people who support the fact that he killed black people. That wasn't what my point was.
I think you're overgeneralizing. That's just me.
No, I can dig it.
Because you're assuming that there are black people who aren't putting their money where their mouth is. You can't assume that. You're doing the same thing they're doing, that they are doing.
All right, well then let me ask you this then. I've been calling for people, prominent people in our communities, to be visible about supporting the community. And I was told that you can't go and spend other people's money. But last week, Kenny Smith, former NBA player, he said the NBA players should donate 10% of their salary to the black community and black causes, and he's being praised. And I said that 5 years ago. And so if we talk about overgeneralizing, which is fair, I understand what you're saying with that, but I think that it's important for us to be seen putting our money where our mouth is, because if we're seen doing it, it will encourage other people to actually do it. When I said that, Michael Jordan is more concerned about making money off of his Jordans, and he said something to the effect that Democrats and Republicans and white people and black people buy Jordans, so I'm not picking a side. He actually said something to that, if I'm paraphrasing, but he actually said something like that. Can you imagine the impact of Michael Jordan or Scottie Pippen or Frank Thomas or any of the black legendary sports people in Chicago, President of the United States, actually not just contributing, but condemning the violence in that town?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So this is what I mean when. So
I get that.
I
when
respect.
You say that.
Yes, I respect. I respect the point of overgeneralizing, because I guess to a certain extent I did, but I just think it's important. You have to be seen doing these things. Like, we know, because some of us know because we've looked into it. Beyonce is a huge, huge benefactor in Houston, her hometown. She gives far more money than she's given credit for, because people don't know. People don't know. And it's imperative because, like I said earlier, we got a bunch of punks and followers in our community who have to be shown that it's okay to do this. It's okay to support your own. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
Because everybody else does it. And people say that nepotism is a bad thing. Well, how you think George Bush got to be the president? This fool was a C student.
Thank you.
He got to be the president because of nepotism. And ain't nothing wrong with it, because they'll put it right in your face. But we got to be the ones that got to be so prideful and so proud that we can't be seen coming together and actually doing something together. So I get fired up with this because, to me, it's so clear. We have never, ever in the history of our people in this country had as many millionaires as we got right now. And there's no reason for our neighborhoods to look the way they look. If every single person in this room put up $100, $120, we got $1,000 now. You know what that means? It means we got $1,000. So if Broad needs something, or if Mo needs something, they got $1,000. You know what I mean? And if you get 100 people that put up $1,000, I'm not great with math. That sounds like about $100,000 or $10,000, whatever it is. I'm not good with math, but it's a lot of damn money, and it's a lot of damn. Yeah, don't ask you about math, but you know, you can go to the hood and actually buy something in the hood. Now we all got something. You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in a neighborhood in Jersey City where it's very heavily populated. And if you got a corner store in Jersey City, if you got a neighborhood with 10,000 people in it and you own a corner store and those 10,000 people spend $10 a month in your store or $100 a month, because you got to play the picket, you got to get your beer, you got to get your sucrus. You got to get your Lucy's. You know what I mean? Got to get your Black and Mild so you can smoke your weed. You know what I mean? Like, you have to pay for your vices.
Yep.
And you pay for your vices in my corner store. So if we in this room all just put up some money so that we can buy that corner store, guess what? We all eating now. You know what I mean? It's simple. It's really not difficult.
It's not.
But we want to go march instead. We want to go block traffic on 95.
And almost make me late for my darn show.
Yeah, man.
And make people late picking up their kids. I mean, my God.
What's up, Broad, man?
That's interesting that you said that, because I heard something on Facebook last week, but the guy was doing a video where he talked about, and I'm repeating this so I don't want to be misunderstood as being anti-Semitic, but he talked about...
They don't care about being anti-black.
I know, right?
You might think about them.
So anyway, he talked about the Jewish community and how this is one of the most persecuted people in the world at the hands of the Germans during World War II. And he was saying, you know, after that was over, once these people were given their land and their freedom back and they had finished that, they didn't start marching, they didn't start having rallies, they didn't do protests. These people consolidated. And they started putting their money together, and they started working up a plan very quietly, to where if we look around in this country today, the Jewish community owns far more than anything that the black community could ever try to measure up against. Hollywood is, if I'm mistaken, help me out, Hollywood is predominantly owned by the Jewish community.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they didn't take their persecution and allow themselves to become victims, as we've been talking about earlier.
Right.
And they didn't go on a rally. They didn't go on a march. They didn't do any of that.
They put their money
started
where their
consolidating,
mouth was.
yeah.
They put
And
their
they
money where
started
their mouth was.
helping one family after the other. Why can't we learn that lesson?
And they sacrifice. Let me get some comments in for the folks. First of all, we lost Facebook Live. Something as simple as a battery dying. So, but we did get some comments. Melanie said, yes, Jesse didn't say anything new. We don't need white folks to do anything for us. Black folks can do everything. Black folks pay attention to black folks. Shaq says that biracial or not, his message was needed. Problem with our community is that we are going to focus on the skin color. I think we got that comment in earlier. Shaq continues. It wasn't nothing new. He's been speaking on about that. It wasn't the first time. Melanie continues. Someone mentioned Dr. Umar, so she's commenting on that. Dr. Umar can have his platform if black folks focus on black folks. Black folks are the only race of people that look elsewhere instead of looking within. That is the definition of stupidity and insanity. 100% agree with you. Let's kind of wrap this segment up, because we need to kind of wrap up the show. Mr. 3375, you want to take it away, man?
Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. I moved the sprint.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I want to go back to something. I want to go back to Leslie Jones not being able to get no clothes. Hold up.
Listen.
No, for real, y'all. I couldn't let it go.
Okay.
So there was no way in hell them two gonna confuse the shit out of me. They are sisters. They are 20 years apart. And the worst part of all is, what's her name? Taronda.
Which
Who
is
the
the
hell
one
is
from
Taronda?
that's the
She's
assistant
one
from
that plays
Empire.
on
Oh,
Empire.
yeah, okay.
Her sister makes her clothes. Makes her own clothes.
Wow.
What?
Yes. Excuse me.
So let me make sure.
So it's three of them.
So let me make sure they understand each other. So Leslie is the person who started this piece of the conversation. She's the one on Saturday Night Live who had issues getting clothes. Her sister is Cookie's assistant on Empire.
Right.
That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay, because we were cross talking so much earlier. We were cross talking so much earlier that I don't think that piece was made plain. So now that we've done that, go ahead. So so the younger sister makes.
Yes,
she's a designer.
She makes her clothes. They said everything that she even wears on Empire, they're her clothes.
So she's a designer herself.
She's a designer herself.
Okay.
Her outfits, I mean, they're a little gaudy, but she's got an outfit here. That's her outfit. There was another picture I ran across. I went through so many pages. She had on a nice little black dress. Her outfit.
Who's the oldest sister?
Leslie. She's 48, and this one here is 28.
Wow.
She's 48. And you can't check your sister for clothes. You needed nobody to give your ass nothing to wear.
But didn't somebody make the comment that perhaps she did that on purpose?
I can
to-
see.
to
Yeah, I
raise
think
some
she did it on
awareness?
purpose.
Man.
I really do.
She wanted to make a statement.
I
And whatever she
actually
did,
agree.
she made
I
it.
actually agree with that because
She made it.
I have a hard time believing, and it's just real because sometimes
That's your
we
sister
make.
then. She would have made you
Sometimes we make the mistake of screaming racism when it's not there, which minimizes when there really is some. Because the truth of the matter is, if you writing a check, then you can get some dresses. So that's just real. And you know how Steppin with Marcus J live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We're gonna take our final break of the night. When we come back, we're gonna rant. We're gonna close it out. Marcus J and the crew. I got Mr. 3375. I got Shayna Latia, our clairvoyant medium. I got our sister Mo. I got our brother Bride. I got our sister Dee Dee and Big Sis SY. Yours truly be back in a few. Y'all stay with us.